Welcome to AuthorTube News, where we find the latest news in publishing so you don't have to. I am your co-host, Carrow Brown.
And I am Tamara Woods.
And it's a little dicey out there this week on these, well, it's not even internet streets, it's actual streets.
Yeah, it's time to hashtag quarantine chill, as they're saying on these Twitter streets.
Yeah, it's a little... This kind of went from... The whole situation with the coronavirus kind of went from, that looks like it's a problem, to like, well, I guess we're not going outside.
All the introverts everywhere has been waiting for this moment. And everyone who like stockpiles hand soap, this is your time to shine, y'all.
Yeah, I had somebody at work be like, since this virus is a thing, how's that going to change our work environment? I was like, we work in a virtual work environment, which means that we don't actually see each other, which means that you're still working.
But that brings us to one thing that I think that would be really good for us to discuss, like people who are now working from home or who are even deciding to take this time to focus more on their writing. Like maybe we can give them some tips on working from home.
Oh yeah, we should totally do that. Would you like to lead into that?
Sure. So I've been working from home for quite some time, and here is one thing that I recommend for people. Okay, two things. One, create a schedule for yourself, because it's very easy to kind of meander along and you're kind of working, but you're also looking at Twitter and what's that new Jenna Marble video that popped up and what have you. So create a schedule and create a cutoff time. You don't want to be working as soon as you wake up and meandering to bedtime. I've done that before and it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to do.
Yeah, I'm totally guilty of that. Like, my spouse will come home and be like, are you still working? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, but this work has to get done. And he like turns my computer off.
Yeah, because here's, actual truth. There's always more work to be done.
Yeah, it never ends.
It never ends.
Yeah. I think the one tip that I would probably have is to make sure that you're still eating. Which I know that sounds a little strange, but when I get into work mode, I basically stop eating, and then I look around feeling absolutely horrible and realize I'm starving, and then at that point I'd be turned into like this beast in the house, and I'm just opening up cupboards trying to find the easiest thing to shove into my mouth. So have food, have snacks.
Yeah, you might even decide to, make some stuff beforehand so you have something easy to grab. Especially if you're one of those people who likes to meal plan. This is your time. This is your place. Make some snacks. It'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the song that no one deserved.
Oh, I thought it was wonderful.
Aw, thanks, friend. No one else did. All right. So here's some other things that we can discuss real quick. Happy news. Camp NaNoWriMo has been announced. Remember Camp NaNoWriMo? It happens twice a year. In April and in the July.
I do remember that because I always tell myself that I'm not going to work very hard during those months, and next thing I know, I'm like, I'm just going to write 3 books in 1 month.
I'm only giggling because literally the past 3 Camp NaNoWriMos, I'm like, okay, and I have 3 projects.
I just need to focus on one, just one. Come on.
But for those of you who don't know, Camp NaNoWriMo is it's another one of those fun challenges, but with this one, you get to set what you want to work on. So with National Novel Writing Month, it's 50K in the month of November. But with camp, what do you want to do? So are you drafting? Are you editing? Are you trying to look at, your word count? It's just whatever you're working on, that becomes your project.
Yeah, occasionally, like, there's somebody that goes into my cabin. It's like, I'm going to write 100,000 words this month. And I'm like, oh, Chica, you sweet summer child. It happens every time.
Yeah, it's there's people who do that, and there's like the Millionaire Club, the people who try to write 1 million words in a month. God love them, I couldn't do it. But there's been a little bit of tweaking and changing, though. So whereas before, there was a separate Camp NaNoWriMo site from the Nano site, it's all consolidated to one. So you would register at the NaNoWriMo.org site, and you can create, instead of cabins, it's called groups. You can create a group like your initial page. So I'm kind of bummed that it is called groups now instead of cabins, because I liked the whole cabin appeal. Like that went very well with the whole camp gig. But I don't know if it's going to be available for like NaNoWriMo proper, and if that's why they changed the name.
I'm kind of
Not sure.
curious. I'm curious if they're going to use the summer to kind of fix the bugs that was happening with the NaNoWriMo website last November, because we were all experiencing like weird hiccups. Yeah, it was, I think, actually Story Detective experienced the worst hiccups. Like, he just didn't know what was going on. It was a very frustrating experience for him. I remember that really well.
Mine stopped working. So I couldn't add anything. It just absolutely went kaput. So I just stopped using the site last year. But this year, they started actually doing the beta testing and working on it earlier this month. So they're hoping that for next month that it'll actually be ready. 'Cause they said in this tweet, we know you're eager to get your camp projects announced to start gathering your cabin, so we appreciate your enthusiasm. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we received with last year's new site launch was that you'd rather we wait for a feature to be fully ready to go before rolling it out. And we're heeding that advice, even though we're also eager to get things started. So hopefully that actually worked out and everything is copacetic.
I'm pretty sure they got it all sorted. I have faith in them.
Yeah, I'm excited. So let us know in the comments, are you going to be doing camp, and have you figured out, like, you know, what you're working on? You got a group/cabin thing going? Let's chat about it.
Yeah, let's make friends. Let's do all that fun networking stuff. Or let me talk about the YouTube account hack situation that's been going on for a few months, because I think it's really important that we actually know about this, because a lot of people who basically watch us here on YouTube also have YouTube accounts, and they have their own channels and things like that, and I think it's worth mentioning. All right, so for the last 3 months, one of the big vloggers here on YouTube, who is also coming out with a book, by the way. That's why I'm justifying why talking about this, because this is AuthorTube. So this is about an author, guys. Anyway, but she had one of her accounts hacked, and basically this group came in and took her account, and they made it like a beauty vlog account, and it's got it had 9 videos, now it's got 8 because one of them got copyrighted. But that's not the crazy thing that's really been going on. It's been her customer service experience with YouTube that's been absolutely insane. And it's just a huge nightmare scenario, from her trying to contact and get the account back up to the most recent update of this week. And I'm just going to kind of highlight the main points that make me pause. So one of the first things that happens is she reaches out to the YouTube team via email and says, hey, my account's been hacked. I need access to it. Please help. And they respond, but they don't actually use her name. They call her Alex. That's not her name. That was just so bad.
And now that's part of her Twitter handle.
Yeah, she's like, Meghan Alex so-and-so. And I'm like, well, at least she's owning it. And so there's some back and forth, and then instead of actually responding to her, they use a generic template that has fill-in areas, but none of the areas are filled in. None of them. Literally none of these areas are filled in. It's just the template that they sent, and it's called the legal template thing. And then it gets worse from there, because as everybody knows who is pretty well versed in the ways of YouTube, the only way that you can get YouTube to help you or to talk to you is you have to get somebody with a very large following to mention it on Twitter. So that's what she did. She went and talked to some big people on Twitter, and then they went and talked to their YouTube representatives, which I'm like, that must be nice to have a YouTube representative that you can just speed dial.
Right?
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's nice. And so they were going and trying to look into it as well, and the DM conversation that she had with the YouTube help people was really weird to me. I'm actually going to venture and say it was very unprofessional, because, they were saying things like, and oh my goodness, really? With 3 question marks and a bunch of other stuff. And she didn't mention this, but when I was watching her video about her account, she's got receipts up the wazoo. Woman has all the deets here. But one thing I thought was kind of interesting is that the people who were talking to her in the Twitter DMs was trying to mimic the way that she talked. I don't know if she picked up on that or not, but I know that's a common tactic when you're trying to appease someone, is to sound like them. But yeah, so That was the thing.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, no, because I was listening to her talk and I was reading the DMs and I was like, a little similar, but I don't think she's seeing that. And then but it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there, because she's basically fighting to talk to an actual person that's gonna respond to her and not be like some kind of weird robot. And YouTube says in their policies that they don't actually do like phone conversations or meetings, which I have heard of several situations where they either have people come meet at a location or anything else, but these are the likes of people like James Charles that can do stuff like that, so who knows. But they agree to a phone call, and so she has this phone call, and it's basically a huge loop conversation where they're not doing any accountability, and every time she says this makes me really angry, they're saying things like, I'm really happy that you are comfortable with expressing how you feel, all that passive aggressive shit that I don't have time for. And she did a response video to it in a way, because with the way that recording conversations work is that in some states you don't have to have party consent, in some states you do, but with the way that it was working with YouTube, that it couldn't work. But she did record her talking to them, but you can't hear them, you just hear her responses, which is very legal. And then she recorded her talking to her boyfriend about how she felt about it, and tears come out everywhere. And I don't cry very often, but even I was kind of like, oh my god, like tears, shit, like I would hate to feel that way. That video goes viral, and of course, like, YouTube's like, we sense that you have a problem, and we're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
What I found really weird about it is that she does have a YouTube representative. They just dipped.
They were CC'd
with all the messages and didn't respond. Like, maybe if they would have taken care of things, it wouldn't have escalated from November until today and beyond. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then bad customer service 101 is they don't have the same people CC'd on this entire email conversation that's going on. So she's got like 3 group of people in the first part of the email, and then she's got a new group of people, and then she doesn't even know what's going on at this point. But all she wants is her videos back, and she wants her channel back. And in this initial phone call that she had with the YouTube representatives, they said that, well, we can't do that per the 30-day blah 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 blah. And in a follow-up email they also sent her the guidelines about how that works. So she basically went to Twitter and said, hey, can anybody help me find dates? So her videos were actually only deleted 4 days before the conversation. It was well within the 30. And then in the YouTube guidelines that they linked her in the follow-up email, their guidelines say that you actually have 60 days.
It was such a mess.
It's so bad. It's so bad. And so she got...
Oh my god, it's terrible.
She got extra spicy in her response and basically started quoting their own regulations back at them, and hasn't really heard back yet. But I'm definitely like, the moment I watched like that second video, because the first one was really rough, and then the second one I was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I already knew that YouTube doesn't like us as creators. Like the definite push to get us out the door is there. This one, I know it sounds bad. It's maybe a little tinfoil hat, maybe not, but this feels intentional to me.
You know what it feels like to me? Like, the amount of incompetence here it's staggering, because it's clearly across the board. She's obviously been talking to like many different consultants. So there's people who are copy and pasting templates and not filling in anything and not changing things. There's people who clearly haven't read the information that they're tagging her with. There's her representative from YouTube who doesn't even discuss any of this with her. She's not even CC'd in all of these messages. I think her manager is, and I feel like her lawyer was, but she wasn't. It's just mind-boggling. And then the information, every time she spoke to someone, it always changed. It was never the same information given to her. No one was consistent. It's like, do they not have rules and regulations? Is
They
it a
do.
wild, wild west at the YouTube?
No, they have rules. They linked them to her, and she was like, "Well, according to the rules that you sent me, your entire phone call was completely bogus. Like, did you even look into my situation? Did?" And this is why I think it's kind of deliberate, because there are way too many coincidences for me to be kind of like, "Oh, well, maybe YouTube is just full of incompetent fucks that don't know what they're doing." No, it's like, you had people that were not getting her name right, then they were just forwarding her templates, and then in the phone conversation, they weren't really acknowledging what was going on, and they were doing all that loop conversation, and then they were like, well, we can't do it because of the 30 days, but your guidelines say 60 days, and then what makes it worse is she was able to find videos of individuals who had YouTube help find all their videos that were deleted by people that hacked into their accounts. Like, that's why I feel like it's deliberate, and YouTube has yet to do anything to show that it's not deliberate. They're definitely going out of their way to not apologize because they don't want to be liable in court, which I feel like I almost want to say I feel like that's where this is going, but like I don't really think that court's really going to do anything in regards to YouTube.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It could be. Gosh, it's baffling. It's baffling that a platform that is literally without the content creators, it has nothing, could treat people so very shabbily. It's crazy that she was receiving more assistance from her followers on Twitter. They're the ones who found out where her YouTube channel was sold and how much it cost and who bought it. Like, they were finding all the receipts. They found the archive for her old videos. They were like, YouTube and Google are pretty much the same thing at this point. So why weren't they able to find this information? Baffling.
Yeah, super baffling. And I don't know, it definitely gives me like a vote of no confidence in YouTube. And I know that we've all been extra angsty with YouTube and the way that YouTube treats people that don't perform to the way that they want. And again, this makes me go back to like, this was on purpose, because like I don't think that they want her there. And one interesting thing is that they demonetized both of these videos about YouTube, which I was like, of course they're gonna demonetize it because they don't want to look bad. But like there was nothing in the guidelines that required them to demonetize it, and so of course when she does the manual review, it takes them like 12 hours to fucking look at it. But at that point, for those of you who don't know, usually most content creators will make the most money within the first 24 hours. So
it's craziness. Have you guys been keeping up with this one? Because I've found it fascinating, and if you have any thoughts or opinions, let us know. Are you wearing your tinfoil hat? Do you feel like they're trying to get rid of her?
Yeah, I do. I feel like this is just, like I said, it's too. I doubt that YouTube is full of that many incompetent people. It really feels like it's on purpose, and it really feels like they're all following some kind of script. And I have seen some agencies where if they give somebody a frustrating enough experience, they go away. And that's honestly a ploy that this is what it feels like to me. But, Carrow opinion, I could be wrong. Somebody who's listening, feel free to correct me. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
All right, well, let's go into something absolutely not lighter at all. Let's talk about Woody Allen's book.
Okay.
Maybe some of you are aware, maybe you aren't, but Woody Allen, he was posed to be published by Hachette. And there was dozens of employees from multiple imprints of the book publisher walked out in protest, saying in email way messages that they quote unquote stayed in solidarity with Ronan Farrow, Dylan Farrow, and survivors of sexual assault. And because of the pressure from all of these people, the book ended up being canceled, and the publishing rights reverted back to Allen. So he can publish it elsewhere, he can self-publish it or what have you. And there's been a lot of mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, there's people who feel very strongly that one, the employees did the right thing, that the publisher ended up doing the right thing, that Hachette shouldn't have been trying to publish this book anyway. And then there's other people like Stephen King who feel as though this could be a bad sign for things in the future. In this tweet, he said, "The Hatchet decision to drop the Woody Allen book makes me very uneasy. It's not about him. I don't give a damn about Mr. Allen. It's who gets muzzled next that worries me." But this isn't the first time that a publisher has dropped someone because of heat from the public. But I think that it is the first time that they drop someone because of heat from the actual employees within the institution. For instance, Simon & Schuster in 2017, they ended up dropping Milo under a lot of public pressure. And I think that Harper and Collins canceled a book from OJ under, again, more public pressure. Yeah, I remember that. If I Did It, where he was going to be talking about what he would have done if he would have actually murdered his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman, which I thought that was such a strange move anyway. Anyway. So, but what do you think, Carrow? Do you think that the publisher did the right thing? Do you think that this could be creating a kind of a chilling effect, that publishers are going to be wary of picking up people who are more controversial?
A publisher's supposed to do due diligence when they bring on somebody, because they want to bring on somebody who is associated with their brand. And then one of the things that sometimes people don't talk about when it comes to the author contracts is that authors are told about what they can and can't talk about once they get signed on, because obviously the publisher doesn't want to have their reputation altered because of one of the people that they sign on. So when something like this happens, I like to say that a publisher has done their due diligence and has researched all the facts, but you have situations like rage baking that happen. And sometimes publishers will bring on people that they know are going to have a book that sells, and then it's when you get backlash, like kind of what we're seeing with Mr. Allen, that will make them basically backstep and kind of do the thing that's going to make their buyers happy. So I think it's a bad look that they didn't really kind of feel the room before they made this decision. But it's not the first time. Like, I'm not super surprised that it happened.
Well, I think that too, hashtag Me Too literally just happened. Like, this isn't, so in today's climate where people are very much aware and very vocal about defending people who have been victims of sexual assault, it seems like this book idea in itself was kind of a tone-deaf move on their part. But apparently in France, it's still going to be launched as planned. It's here that it's been canceled.
That doesn't surprise me either. Yeah, no, I mean, God, I hate saying that. Like, it feels like some of the bigger publishers have been tone deaf. I know we talked about this in the last episode where we talked about rage baking, and I was just like, what are these publishers doing? Why are they not in tune with their audiences? Why do they not understand what they want right now? And, I thought about it since we talked last time. I think a lot of them just have, like, their publishing schedule, and bad move.
Well, I still feel that with rage baking that was deliberate. I feel that was absolutely deliberate. That was a way to get Black Twitter to talk about them, to get that free publicity and promotion. And I'm sure that there was a lot more interest generated because of it. But that's just me, though. That's my tinfoil hat.
I'm not going to disagree. You should all listen to that last episode because we got pretty heated. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with publishing sometimes. I'm like, y'all should know what you're doing. You've been doing this for like a very long time.
Maybe they need more new blood to come in and to clean things up a little bit.
They got all them interns. They got all those interns I talked about 2 episodes ago. I'm just plugging all the previous episodes, friends.
I mean, I'm not mad at you. You guys, we talk about a lot of good stuff. You should definitely check out our playlist. I don't think I've ever said that we have a playlist. That exists, you know. So let us know in the comments, did you hear about this whole Woody Allen fiasco, and what do you think? Do you think that the publisher did the right thing? Do you think that they should have listened to their employees? Do you feel like they were being tone deaf, or that they were upholding the First Amendment? Let us know.
Okay, so I'm going to be selfish, and I want you to talk about this TacoBell Quarterly thing, because I haven't read this, but it says Taco Bell, and I have all ears and eyes because it says the word taco in it.
I have the happy story. I've got the happy story. Last time I didn't have the happy story. This time I found the happy story, because this story makes me so happy.
I'm happy because it says taco in the title.
Oh my goodness, y'all. Taco Bell has a quarterly literary magazine. It exists. It's a real thing, okay? It exists. And not only that, they're looking for people to write for them. Submissions are open, baby. So, oh my gosh, okay. Tickled pink. So Taco Bell Quarterly is a literary magazine for the Taco Bell arts and letters. We're a reaction against everything: the gatekeepers, the tastemakers, the hipsters, health food, artists who wear cute scarves, bitch-ass Wendy's. We seek to demystify what it means to literary, artistic, important, and elite. I die. Okay. So here's what they say about their submission call. The link is, of course, will be in the description, but we're busted and broke ass. So until we get rich, we seek to create a positive, encouraging, artistic community of literary Taco Bell writers. Taco Bell Quarterly makes zero profits for this venture. Look, I know that I'm not going to get paid if I get published on Taco Bell Quarterly. But if you think that I'm not going to submit a 500-word essay about something to do with tacos, you don't know me very well.
I need to do this. Everybody, we all have to do this. Come on. I know it's no money, but hell, we got to help the Taco Bell thing. Let's do it. Let's all do it. The call to action.
It's so much fun. Ah! I'm so hyped.
Okay, so we're going to leave a link for that down below. You guys should go check it out after the podcast. I definitely want to submit something because this is just too much fun to not be part of.
I mean, seriously. And the whole tone of the entire website is freaking fantastic. I haven't actually read the quarterly yet. The first one is out. The second one's due out sometime soon. So they're looking for their summer edition, and I think that they're going to be releasing topics about it soon. So, but yeah, there's more information on the site. I would suggest checking it out, even if you are not interested in submitting, just because it's so hilarious.
This has to be a thing. I want to do it. It's got taco in the title.
I mean, it's everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah, this is how you catch a Carrow Brown. You get a box and you prop it up with a stick and you put a fresh taco in there and just wait. And at some point I'll appear and I'll walk into the box and you pull the string, attach the stick, and you've got me.
I really want a caught Carrow Brown on the front of a journal or something. I want it on a sticker. That's perfect. It'd be so cute.
We should probably make merch soon.
What do you guys think about merch anyway? Are you guys into that idea? Let us know.
Yeah, all this talk about knowing what the audience wants. Tell us what you want. If you guys want us to do some merch with some of the stickers or whatever, let us know. I can make it happen on Redbubble. So let's go ahead and transition into my next one. Isn't super happy, but it's not down and dour either. I was reading an article where they were talking about the state of digital publishing, which is what a lot of us, I like to think, who are listening to this podcast are kind of looking into and things like that. And some researchers got together and they were having a discussion about it, about some of the really important things that are part of digital publishing these days. Now, I'm not going to count for all 9 of these points, but I did want to talk about 5 of these because I thought that they were really interesting and that they could provide for some interesting discussion among us and the listeners. So when it came to trying to make the most out of digital publishing, the number one thing that these researchers found out is that audience loyalty is number one.
Interesting.
Yeah, getting your audience, being loyal to them, having them be loyal to you, building up that good rapport, like all of that there, like that's number one. And it kind of makes sense because I've always been a really big advocate of when you want to promote your book, getting word of mouth is going to take you a lot farther than a Facebook ad.
On some levels, I agree with that, yeah.
Well, I mean, Facebook ads do work. It's just, the amount of times that people have to look at them before they click on it, and then you have to have a box set and all that other stuff. But talking about Facebook ads and box sets and stuff like that, number 2 is actually the SEO for whatever it is that you're trying to do. So making sure that you've got all your keywords and making sure that they are appropriate and making sure that they are up to date with whatever the new algorithm that the algorithm god has enforced onto us.
The algorithm.
I hate the algorithm. I think I'm gonna make that character in a book, but I have to. But number 3, and this is actually one that one of my writers at work had mentioned, and I didn't dismiss it, but I thought it was interesting. But what I really liked is seeing it here in number 3, which had to do with diversifying where you get your money from. So I'm going to use Jenna Marassi as a good example of this because I think she showcases this the best. So Jenna makes money off of her book, right? Or her book, because she's got 2. Then she's got her merch store, and then she's got her subscribe thing on YouTube, and then she's got her Patreon. So Chica's got multiple sources that she's making money from. So even if her book doesn't sell well one month, she has other avenues that she's going to get money from.
Yeah, she also sells a workshop.
Oh yeah, 2 of those.
Oh.
She's on Skillshare, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because she's got one about branding, then she's got one about launching. Yeah, so she's definitely got that. So number 4, I think, is going to produce the most interesting conversations because it has to do with quality over quantity. So making sure that you are giving the best work instead of mass producing. And the only reason I say that I think that would make some interesting conversations is because I know that we have friends who write at the speed of light, and their books are good. Like, we've read the books.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, not to name drop, but I was reading some of Lena Povsku's books over the weekend, and they were incredibly entertaining and very well written. But she is definitely a writer who's able to produce books quite quickly. She writes to market and she does it quickly. She has a very fast turnaround.
Yeah, sure. Her stuff's very easy to binge read. I really like it. And I think that's like the closest I'm going to do for a review of somebody I know.
Same.
And the last one's actually what you and I are doing right now, which is being available it's being available in other things outside of producing books. It's making podcasts, it's doing webinars, newsletters, it's having outreach of some sort.
Holy crap. I'm accidentally doing something right?
Yeah, you are, because you've got a newsletter and we've got this podcast, and you also have it's not a webinar, but you've got your panel thing that you do for your book review at the end of every month.
Oh yeah, Writer's Workshop. That is the thing that I do. You guys should check it out. It's over on my channel, so I won't talk too much about it, but you should come hang out. It's a fun nonfiction book club.
Yeah, so you're doing lots of things right, I would say anyway. But yeah, so those are 5 of the 9 things, but I really thought that those 5 things were really interesting, and I wanted to mention it to our listeners and kind of get what they thought on those 5 things. And if you want to see what the other 4 are, that link is down below. You can go check it and peruse it for your own entertainment.
I personally, I like the idea of diversifying monetization strategy, trying to figure out more streams of income. Like, weren't we recently discussing audiobooks?
Yeah, we were talking about audiobooks and about how some people lean towards audiobooks because they just don't have time to sit down and read, or like how I like to multitask, like I'll clean the house and listen to an audiobook or something like that.
Yes, and people were giving me advice. Thank you so much in the comments in the last one, because I am hopeless when it comes to audiobooks. But audiobooks has become a huge stream of revenue for people. So, that's a little bonus tip.
Gotcha, y'all. We gotcha.
We gotcha. We're here for you.
I see
All
on
right,
this
so-
I see your next agenda actually involves an author I like, so I'm a little afraid.
Ruh-roh, where... Wait, which one is that?
That's Jay.
Okay. Well, like for me, I don't really have any strong feelings one way or another. But this was, oh my gosh, you guys, this is one of those things where what the hell happened? So you all know that I do love me some Twitter drama. So we're into it. Buckle up. All right. So apparently, she is a booktuber by the name of, she goes by Mina Reads on her BookTube channel. And she tweeted this out. That Charlie Something artist has such amazing work, but I do believe that every single face they draw looks exactly the same, no variation in the shape at all. I wonder if that's indicative of their art style, or do authors only write about pale, skinny, high cheekboned people?
Oh, bird.
A little scathing, but also complimentary. It was like she didn't quite have the compliment sandwich. It was like a open face. However, from that, the author by the name of, what's her name? The author by the name of Charlie Bowater, she ended up responding. She quote tweeted it and responded in some way, but she has since deleted it, and I could not track down the original tweet, and for that I apologize, and I'm also frustrated by it, but I wasted too much of our day today to keep looking for it. But in any case, so she was very upset, and she quote tweeted it, and the thing about that, well, okay, and then Jay Kristoff, he responded, and he said, "The internet is full of folks who create nothing but worthless noise. Your work is extraordinary, my friend." The thing, of course, that happened was there was a lot of people who went after Mina, who is, a smaller creator and who has a smaller platform, absolutely, than Jay and Charlie, which they should have realized before they responded that would happen. And my biggest problem with this is that Charlie is very much an established established artist. She's done work for Game of Thrones. Like, she's big time, very big time. Have you not heard criticism before? Are your feelings that fragile? I don't know. I'm baffled as to why she kind of reacted, especially since Mina didn't actually at her. Like, it really wasn't toward her at all. It was more of her making an observation, and it wasn't even really about her as much as about what authors are writing, and kind of talking more of like the publishing side of things. I felt like, I don't know. What did you think? You're the artist out of the two of us.
You know, my brain works a little differently, so I can't always say that the way I think is how artists should think, or what they all think. But I mean, one of the things that happens when you do go into art is that people are going to talk about it. Occasionally on my Instagram, I get, I post up my doodles, and somebody will come in and they'll say, like, this is, this drawing is shit, or they'll say something like that. And, unless it's an actual criticism of the lines of kind of like, hey, this line art could use some fine tuning or something like that, I usually just delete those. Because it's really easy for people just to throw out a shit opinion, so to speak. And I hate saying this, I like Jay's work, but that was probably a matter that Jay did not need to step into. I'm sure for him, he probably felt like he was trying to reassure his friend, but normally if you have a need to bitch to somebody about it, you just do it with each other and you let it go. So yeah, the entire situation strikes me as very strange, because you're talking about two different groups here that usually come at the mercy of a lot of harsh opinions. I mean, artists get harsh opinions from the general public, and so do authors. So the fact that he's like, I don't know.
I found it baffling, and there were some people who were saying that that it became such a, I don't know, it became a shit show because Mina was a person of color commenting on this, and I'm gonna link the video below that I watched. That was a very harsh critique of all of it, but I mean, I thought her opinions are valid, so I think that it would be an interesting view for you all if you're interested.
One thing I do want to add is that, and I hate saying that Jay Kristoff is not aware of this, but one of the things that comes when you are a person that has any kind of following, whether it be 5 people or a couple 100,000 people, is that you need to realize that what you say and do will spark some kind of movement all the time. One interesting thing that I'm going to tip my hat to the drama community about is that anytime they do a video or anything like that, they always preface it with like, do not send harassment, do not talk to these people, we are just here to share some tea and move on with their lives. And they do that because what they're trying to do is mitigate any kind of damage that may come from their opinion or what it is that they're sharing. And I tried to keep that into my mind as well when I deal with difficult people. Like, for example, like a couple of weeks ago, I was working with an artist on Fiverr. Horrible experience. It was really bad. And if I really wanted to, I could have lit this bitch on fire. But I didn't, because she's not worth that kind of grief, and it doesn't really look good on me to kind of point a finger and be like, that person over there is shit. You got to be the better person. You have to be mature, and you just got to really keep your shit talk and your pettiness like behind closed doors with, trusted people that aren't going to spread it around.
But I don't think that he has a habit of doing that. He's come up before with like kind of drama-ish situations on Twitter. He's very vocal.
Does he have a book coming out?
You would know that more than me. I haven't.
I think he's got a book. Hold on, let me check. I think he's got a book coming out called Aurora Rising. Let me find the release date, because that would answer a lot of questions to me. It's horrible. Because remember, you're talking about how that rage banking was that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it cynical, or is it just, our new reality here? How marketing works these days.
I don't like it. It leaves bad taste in Carrow Brown's mouth.
I mean, we're still talking about it.
I'm trying to do search, trying to find Jay Kristoff. Jay Kristoff, there he is. Let's see. He does have a book that's coming out, and this book is coming out in the UK. I don't know when it's coming out. May 5th. May 5th. It's coming out May 5th. He's got a book that's coming out.
Is it cynical? Is it a tinfoil hat? I'm not sure. But if you guys have an opinion, let us know in the comments, because we want to know what you have to think. That's part of the fun of this whole gig. So I wanted to let you guys know about a few things that are happening. A few little things that you can mark on your calendars. So one of them is #RevPit. And that is where writers can choose between 2 editors and 1 alternate, and basically try to get to receive feedback and developmental edits on their full fiction manuscript from editors. And in hope, and this is kind of in hope of getting you a little bit closer to publishing your work or to finding an agent. So the submission window is going to be open April 18th and 19th, but I wanted to let you guys be aware of it early on, especially now that we are #quarantine chill. So maybe you can work on your manuscript and get it up to speed so that you can submit, because they expect that for your manuscript to be as good as you can possibly make it, before you submit it. And the link to their website will be listed down below. So as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, the coronavirus has led to a lot of things changing. So there's people who are going to be working from home. There's also been a lot of book cons that have been canceled. So, which is very disappointing. And a couple of things that are happening this weekend, and I think next week, that I wanted to let you be aware of. There's a self-publishing conference that's going to be happening this weekend, and there's also an online thriller school for the international thriller writers that's going to be happening, I think, next week. And those links will be in the description. So if you're wanting to learn a bit more about indie publishing and writing thrillers, here's some options. And as we find any more, because I've seen the movement of people talking about creating some type of book con that will be online to try to help authors who are going to be involved in these IRL ones. So hopefully with the next podcast, there'll be some things that have been actually ironed out and created, and then we could tell you guys about them. So be on the look for that.
Okay, so I guess that leads us to the very last thing that we're going to talk about, which is actually something that I have we always ask you guys to send us articles and stuff like that, and I wish I could say that this was an article, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because it is something that is happening. It does affect the indie community, and my DMs have not been lit up, but I have definitely been getting a lot of inquiries, and I thought that I would just kind of talk about this topic, which has to do with 8 Little Pages. So,
dun dun dun.
You will not hear me very often talk about 8 Little Pages, and the reason I do not usually talk about 8 Little Pages is because I used to be signed on with them to be their author this time last year. It was a super exciting opportunity. I was really into it. I couldn't wait. And things went downhill when it got to the editing stage. And I'm not even going to beat around the bush. The editor that they had over there, and if you want a name, message me, because I'm not going to put her on blast out here in public, but the editor that they had was completely incompetent. Not only did she not know what she was doing, but she, and I have it on good authority, would actually go and take the money that 8 Little Pages had and just spend it without talking to anybody. So that was a thing. Completely ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah. For example...
Not to break in, but holy shit.
Yeah. No, you can break in whenever you want. And I don't want to turn this into a Carrow Brown experience with 8 Little Pages. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because before they signed me up, I was actually a client. They were going to do my cover and they were going to do my interior formatting, because 8 Little Pages is, a cover and an interior formatter designers. And they were endorsed by Jenna Marassi, and that led to them to grow very quickly in popularity. They had a wonderful portfolio. Claire is actually a very talented cover artist. She does amazing work. And I'm saying that present tense because she still does amazing work. She just doesn't do it anymore. So I signed up to be a client. They were going to do my cover, and then they opened up for submissions, and I submitted, and they accepted me. And in normal circumstances such as that, what happens is that they have to refund you back your money, because that's just how that works. You're no longer a client. You're now one of their authors, and they're doing that stuff for free. And what ended up happening is they said that they were going to give me higher rates until I made that money back. And at first I was like, that sounds a little strange, but I'm sure they need that money to get some stuff rolling, so I'm not going to question it. Now, editor went and spent it and didn't tell anybody. That was the whole thing behind that. Yeah.
Wow.
And I ended up leaving with the lawyer and the PR rep of the company because communication within 8 Little Pages at that time was not very good. I often had questions. There were never any answers. When meetings were supposed to happen, they didn't happen. And so when they gave me the opportunity to walk, I said, yes, I would love to walk. And I never really verbally said anything out loud just because 8 Little Pages was under a gag order, so to speak, where they couldn't say anything bad about me for about a year. But I wasn't under that obligation, right? I could have come out and said whatever I wanted to say. But I was trying to be the better person, and I didn't do that. Uh, so, I'm telling you guys all that. So when I talk about 8 little pages, I hope you understand that I'm trying to be like the better person and not do too much shit talking. As I lead into the fact that 8 little pages as a company has shut down and they've gone bankrupt. A lot of the DMs that I have gotten is along the lines of, do you know what's happening? Do you have any answers? Do you have any of this or that? I do not have any answers. They're bankrupt, which means to tell me that something went bad with the funds, and I'm just going to blame that editor again because, do me wrong once, she probably did it again, because she was very unreliable and she would often take much longer than she needed to do edits. She would leave in typos. A couple of her books were taken down for quality control. So not a good
Ouch.
not a good individual to work with. And again, if you want that name, please message me privately. I'll be happy to give it to you. I'm just not going to burn her on public like this. But and there's probably some other circumstances. I heard that Chris over at ELP also did not feel well at one point, and that medical expenses probably contributed to that. And there are probably some stress and some other things. And in Carrow Brown's humble opinion, ELP grew too fast. They grew really fast, and they weren't ready for the popularity that Jenna Morassi brought them. And that led to, I don't want to say mistakes, but definitely some over assumptions about what could and couldn't be done. And this ended up defecting into bad communication between them and their clients, not holding up on things, not doing follow through. And I've only talked to Claire once, maybe twice, and she definitely has confrontation issues. Like, absolutely. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend like she doesn't. So, when you're in a tight situation and you know that people are angry with you and you have confrontation issues, you're gonna have what's literally happening right now, where 8 little pages is shut down, disappeared. All their social media accounts are completely wiped out. Their Twitter, their Instagram, anything that you could find them on. Facebook is gone. Their main page is replaced with instructions about to basically contact PayPal if they owe you money and have PayPal give you back your money. Like, that's where they are right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and it's really unfortunate because 8 Little Pages really did have some good endorsements. And I'm going to say again, Claire, very talented with the stock photos, was able to put together some very amazing covers. And in all honesty, I'm not happy about it. I really wanted 8 Little Pages to succeed. I really wanted them to do very well. And this again is coming from somebody who did not have a great experience with 8 Little Pages. But they gave people hope. You know what I mean? Like, people looked at them and they saw them as like the achievement. It's like, that's the thing that I have to reach for, and now they're gone, and it makes me very sad.
That's not a happy story at all.
No. And while I was digging around, because before we started this podcast, I was like, I might as well do all my due diligence and find out everything else that's going on and get everybody else's posts and stuff like that. I'm not the only person to talk about 8 Little Pages suddenly disappearing without a word to anybody. They sent out no announcement, zero announcement, and I know that because even though they unsubscribed one of my emails from their newsletter, because that's how that ended, they didn't get rid of my other one. So yeah, I was watching. They didn't notify anybody that they were going to go out of business. They basically changed their webpage, destroyed all their social media, and left people with lots of questions coming to me and a couple of other people who worked for them. So, awkward place for us, because obviously we don't want to be like, well, they're just shitheads. No, it's like, we really don't know what's going on. Like, we really don't. While I was digging around, I found out some of the other people that they do cover art for, they're closed down too.
Oh, what?
Yeah, like one of the people that they would work for, called Otomes, like, their website's gone. They haven't updated their Twitter since November 2019.
Wow, I don't know if that's related or...
I don't know if it's related. I just think it's very strange that that's all taken down. Like, the only remnants that we have that 8 Little Pages was a thing was obviously Jenna Morassi's review video, which I don't know if she's going to keep that up now. There are a couple of covers that they did for Tiffany Dunn and a bunch of other indie authors, such as Vivian Reese. They did one for her. I've got my old cover that they did for me. I should probably put that up somewhere. In memory of 8 Little Pages. But yeah,
That's a cute cover.
Yeah, it was okay, yeah. It wasn't my character on that cover, but that's fine. Story for another day.
Well, that was one way to end all this.
Well, I gotta talk about it because I understand that people have questions. I don't have answers. All I can do is give you my tragic backstory and experience with this company, and they're gone, and there's really gonna be no talking to them. So that's where we are right now.
I guess that's that on that.
Yeah, but that's not a happy story. You're right, but you know what is a happy story?
AuthorTube news shout out!
Yes! One day, that's a horrible
Sorry.
sound effect.
It almost killed me.
Oh, yeah, free 50 sound effects. One day we will get a budget and we will buy some actual sound effects. I am happy to say that we got 4 submissions that we could talk about, although one of them we're not going to mention because there actually is no pre-order out, and this person says that they're querying their stuff. So just to reiterate to individuals, it's like usually the shout out for your book usually involves already having a pre-order established. So please make sure that you have that so that way we can send people to your pre-order so that way you can make money. So the first one, who I am super excited to see her name on this roster, is actually Shannon Capper, or Caper if I'm saying her name right, because you all know I can't say names, who is a very regular face that we always see in our live streams. So the fact that I get to see that her book is on this list makes me actually happy. Her book title is called Pieces of the Past. It is a paranormal cozy mystery, which we were literally this week asking about getting more of those, so I'm super excited. That launch date is going to be the 17th of this month. You will find it on Amazon. And her tagline is, after the discovery of a dead body, Molly can either continue her quest to revitalize Silver Shores or give up a substantial inheritance and return to the mundane life she chose to leave behind. I freaking love it!
Not a mundane life. Whoa.
Mundane life.
Well, I'm interested, and I'll be checking out the pre-order.
I'm literally clicking on the link right now.
Speaking of clicking on a link, and also speaking of Queen of Swords and Silence, looks like we have a relaunch here from no other than Carrow Brown.
Yay, it's my baby. She's coming back.
And it's going to be available for wide distribution. And here's her tagline. Ghost only takes responsibility for her actions when she doesn't want the world to end. Woo! Woo! Get in on it.
I can't wait for this to be back out. It's like giving birth twice.
Zoinks.
Enough about me. Let's go ahead and talk about M.K. Williams' book that is coming out. So her book title is going to be Self-Publishing for the First-Time Author and Book Marketing for the First-Time Author, 2 books. This genre is nonfiction. It is author and self-publishing, which, we all love a good book about that. It is coming out on the 25th, and it's going to be available anywhere great books are sold, and libraries too. The tagline is, I know what it's like to have so many questions as you start your self-publishing journey. Learn from my experience to successfully launch your book. And then I think she's got some comments for us. She's thanking us for supporting the AuthorTube community. I'm so happy.
Aw, thank you.
Thanks, M.K.
Thanks,
Williams.
MK. They've been around. I remember them. And I'm going to be checking this out because, as I've mentioned in previous things, I have a nonfiction writing book hoarding problem. So thank you for feeding into my addiction, MK. And also, you're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry, Carol. I didn't mention that your book launches March 23rd. I'm the worst.
Oh, no, you're fine.
So
Don't worry. It's
So
coming out,
sorry.
y'all. It's coming out. Links are down below with dates and buys and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, well, this has been quite the journey.
Yeah, I think this is our longest podcast that we've done in a little hot minute.
Well, I guess it's perfect for people who are, staying in the house and need something to do.
Stuck at home.
Well, now you have. Hey, share this with other people who are stuck at home. Let's get more people listening to us, if you would.
That would be
You
great.
wouldn't mind.
That would be great. We have lofty goals of, getting this channel built up and maybe getting like some kind of like crowdfunder so that way we can like afford things like actual sound effects. That would be great.
Yeah, let's we want to take it to that next level where we sound a bit more professional. So if you guys are interested in that, if you'd want to see something from us along those lines, let us know. Would you be interested in supporting us in that way?
But that brings us to the end of the podcast. Are there any final notes that you want to leave with our listener today, Tamara?
I don't know. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. And start buying some fake canned goods, okay? So thanks so much for listening and for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed talking about it. This is probably like one of the best parts of my week is doing the research and chatting with you guys about these different topics.
So with that said, thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope that you have a good one, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Love us. Love us.
Love us.
Love us.